even though it had, in the midst of all this, all the BS, blockade, communist nation, Cuba was able to develop a vaccine for lung cancer. That was Cuba, y'all. Cuba did that. Cuba. So the U.S. once again was urged by the UN and the rest of the world basically to lift the trade embargo and the blockade on Cuba. Let's go to this video and come back on the other side and discuss it.
The UN General Assembly has once again overwhelmingly backed Cuba's claim to end the economic, commercial, and financial embargo imposed by the United States, with 184 votes in favor, only 2 against, the United States and Israel, and 3 abstentions. Cuban authorities say that the cost of the blockade has been calculated at more than $144 billion over the past 60 years. The UN vote has backed Cuba's demand to end the restrictions of the past 27 years, but Washington has not only turned a deaf ear to the claims, it has exerted a tighter grip. Authorities with the manufacturing industry recently told reporters about the impact by the trade embargo on foreign trade.
Our industry has been forced to draw up new strategies to find markets for our foreign trade in faraway world regions, which makes our operations much more costly.
Cuba's central bank has suspended dollar deposits in large part because of the sanctions. Many Cubans have come to rely on remittances, mostly from the United States, to provide revenue in the country. Western Union closed its branches last November. Jose Antonio Perez opened one of the first private restaurants in Old Havana. After flourishing times, his business began to languish as a result of the U.S. embargo.
Tourism was hard hit. The number of visitors from the US nosedived due to Washington's measures like the prohibition of US cruise ships to Havana since 2019, which affected all of us who make a living out of tourism.
U.S. President Joe Biden has been urged by politicians and demonstrators in the U.S., Cuba, and around the world to change the policy.
We are all here, and many others in more than 50 cities around the world, demanding no more blockade.
Cuban authorities have reiterated that they are ready to have talks with the U.S. on equal grounds, bearing in mind that the U.S. comprehensive trade embargo is the main hurdle for the development of bilateral relations. Luis Chirino, CGTN, Havana.
Yeah, so as you can see, us, America, of course, is really, really making it hard for Cuba to do what they need to do. And I actually wanted to give a brief history, give some context to the situation in Cuba. The problem with that is every article I found is laden with propaganda. So actually, this might be a teachable moment. So we'll go through all this together, and I will try to dissuade some of the propaganda. So this right here is a brief history of Cuba. I guess what you need to know, most important, let's start down here. All right, so in 1952, Fulgencio Batista staged a coup in Cuba and became its dictator. At that time, compared to other Latin American countries, Cuba was prosperous and its people had a relatively high standard of living. Literacy rates were high and healthcare was relatively good. Education in Cuba was of a high standard. Cuba was known for its writers. So down here, they start getting into, this is the propaganda I was talking about. So instead of reading it, I'm just going to kind of clean it up for you. So in 1959, Fidel Castro led a revolution in Cuba. Very true. It says, however, Castro did not bring freedom to Cuba. This is where the propaganda starts to come in. They said he made himself a dictator and introduced a repressive communist regime. But if you just literally do the math on that, I'll leave this article below so you can see. You just literally do the math on how they, on literally their own dates, it makes no sense what they're saying. So, for example, he says the Cuban economy stagnated during the 1960s through the 1970s because Castro, led a, communist regime, repressive regime, right? So, but if you also look, just, maybe I guess by happenstance, I guess this guy's saying, at the exact same time, right, 1962, U.S. imposed the blockade on Cuba and has been going strong ever since. So literally, it's kind of weird how the economy stagnates at this point And, you know, at this point, if you get what I'm saying, like, it's real odd, you know what I mean, right? When you say, you know, maybe there's a correlation there. So the U.S. has had an embargo on Cuba for over 50 years. This is all holdover from the Cold War stuff with the USSR that doesn't even exist anymore. You know what I mean? And we're still punishing Cuba for those things. And what's really interesting about this, to be honest with you, is the fact that we just keep propagandizing Americans and keep telling people like, oh, you know, it's the communism. All right, so let's just get this part out the way, right? I'm not here to talk about communism or even those systems, because I think that's, you know, it's an important conversation, but a different conversation to have, right? Even if you think that Cuba was repressive, a communist nation, all this kind of stuff, they are over there in Cuba, my G, right? You know what I'm saying? Has nothing to do with America. You know what I'm saying? We literally ran a campaign around the world saying that, you know, saying, oh, communism, if we don't suppress it, it'll take over the world. And which makes no sense to me, because as a dude who knows my ideas are right, I'm like, you argue with anybody, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not worried about somebody, some Christian or anybody, you know, coming to my house, you know, thinking that they're gonna, you know, change the way I view things, or like, you know, saying completely propaganda. Nah, man, I know when I speak, what I say makes way more sense than what you say. So we bring it on, brother. But America, we, you know, decide to repress other views of the world and things, even though we over there in Cuba, you know what I'm saying? They over there in Cuba doing their own thing. We still put a blockade on them. What that blockade does is the equivalent of imagine this. Imagine if you were in your house and the American government, 'cause that's who has the blockade, the government, right? You know what I'm saying? The American government came to you and was like, hey, say, son, we don't like the way you run things in your house. We don't like that. So this is what we're going to do. We want you to switch all that up and you right now. And you were like, no, this is my house, bro. I run it the way I want to run it, right? And they're like, okay, cool. This is what we're going to do then. We're going to station cops and military all around your house, all around it. Nobody can go in without our permission. Nobody can come out without our permission. No goods can come in. You can't get no food unless we say it's okay. Nothing. You know what I'm saying? Your neighbor can't come over here and talk to you. None of that. And they had that going for 50 years straight, right? And in that 50 years time, they tell their people, you know, American government, all your neighbors and stuff, what they tell your government, when your neighbors come by and look, they say, man, look at this house, man. The paint's falling off the you know, the shingles are falling off, the paint's falling off. You know what I'm saying? His kids are getting hungry. Look at that. Saying, look how oppressive he is over there. Look how oppressive he is. You know, that dictatorship he's running. He runs his house wrong. Now, what I would say as an outside observer, say, you know what? Maybe he is repressive in there, you know, but how the fuck am I supposed to know, you know, if you have a whole blockade on, you know what I'm saying? You're not letting him live his life. I can't, this isn't even here. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, how about you move out the way and then we can see how repressive this man is, right? You know what I'm saying? And it's one of those things where, you know, nobody just looks at it that way. And that's literally exactly what's happening. We have a whole blockade. We're blocking their country from getting goods, getting medicine, all kinds of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And when stuff's getting dilapidated, and we're like, see, look at them. See, look how they running it. Look, it looks terrible over there, you know? And like, and the whole world, everybody else in the world, like I said, the outside observers, the neighbors are looking like, well, how about y'all stop doing that? And then let's see. Then I might be on your side. I might be on your side. For real, maybe. But how am I supposed to know? You literally are not letting them live their lives, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, just a couple things, even though we had this blockade on Cuba, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm about to, let's get deeper into, you know, what Cuba's been able to do in the midst of this blockade, right? So even though we've had this blockade on Cuba, what Cuba's been able to garner is, let me find it. Even though it had, in the midst of all the BS, blockade, communist nation, Cuba was able to develop a vaccine for lung cancer. That was Cuba, y'all. Cuba did that. Cuba. Literacy rates by country, right? So this is the top literacy rates in the world. We have 100% literacy for all these countries. I'm not even going to try and start pronouncing all of them. It's not in the mood. Let's not play this game. But right down here, maybe what is that, 10 or so? Highest literacy rates in the world, Cuba. This terrible repressive regime, you know? Want to see where America is? I got you. Hold on. I know where we at. There we are. We down here somewhere in 96% literacy, if I'm not mistaken. Huh. Unless we move that quick. No. Okay. Maybe we're further down. Oh, 86. I thought I remember it said 96. No, we are 86% literacy. That's us down here, y'all. It's the United States literacy rate ranked in the world. Under Jamaica, we under Lebanon, the UAE, Brazil, Ecuador, Mexico. 93% literacy rate, y'all. Let's see where we at. See where Cuba is. All right. Keep going. Yeah, Cuba right here. I'm gonna keep it going. List of countries right here. By home ownership rate. How many people this repressive regime, how many people own houses in this repressive regime? What do you think? Cuba, 90% home ownership rate. Date of information, 2014. Wow. A little old. The information's a little old, gotta be honest. You know what I'm saying? Then again, we don't let shit through Cuba. So, you know what I'm saying? Kind of hard to, gauge everything perfectly, right? But let's see where America's at. We down here somewhere. Hold on. Oh, there we are. 65% home ownership rate for America. Last data information 2019. Damn. It's facts, y'all. I'm not. Y'all see, I ain't manipulating none of this. Is all, look, I'm pulling up for you. You know what I'm saying? Also, what else Cuba did, this repressive regime helped in apartheid in South Africa. This is Fidel Castro and the great Nelson Mandela, you know what I'm saying? Chilling, kicking it, you know what I mean? That's some of the things that Cuba was able to get moving and develop under a blockade sanctions, and those sanctions that we have on Cuba are pretty big, man. They're not little things, right? You know what I'm saying? We're not allowing certain goods to be traded. We're really repressing them. And under all that, they were still able to do what they were able to do. You get what I'm saying? So point of what I'm saying is, the reason why they're able to do it is community. So, social programs that were geared toward the people, not towards profit. You know what I'm saying? The big problem is profit, right? You know what I'm saying? Cuba also has a universal healthcare system. I didn't go into there's other articles I found. Cuba have the highest number of doctors in the world. Like, they have like the gold standard of doctors. The doctors are so dope. They have more doctors per capita than anywhere else, and they're so dope, and there's so many of them. They send them out to other countries just to help out, you know what I'm saying, and help with their medicine and stuff under this blockade, you know what I mean? So, we need to end the blockade on Cuba. This is something that, and like I try to explain to people, you're only as strong as your weakest link. The reason why I think we as a country need to focus on, racial issues, as far as like getting some kind of getting some power for impoverished people of color, black people, Hispanic people, is because the saying, you're only as strong as your weakest link, right? You know what I'm saying? If America is a chain and one link in that chain is weak, the whole thing, it's pointless. You get what I mean? So like it's about focusing on the lowest of us, because if we can lift the people at the bottom up, everybody else comes up by design. It's all good, right? You know what I'm saying? So we got to focus on I think Cuba, is they need help out there, man. You know what I'm saying? And I think if they were able to be left to their own devices, be able to, enact the policies that they see fit, things that work for them, you know what I'm saying? Without a blockade, without all these things, right? All this BS, they would definitely be able to prosper, and who knows where they'd be, right? You know what I'm saying? But we never get to truly see their policies enacted because, America's all in the mix. And like I said, I'm not even trying to say like Cuba's perfect, Fidel's perfect. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is how the hell are we supposed to know if we keep intervening? You know what I'm saying? I don't know either way. I don't know yes or no. There's nobody can truly say whether they know whether whether that experiment of their socialist, policies, the negatives of them were truly their fault because we just keep getting in the way. So I'm gonna leave it at that, man. I don't want to keep this one going too long, man. Make sure if you all like the content, make sure to subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Join the co-op right here. Join the co-op or a co-op. And, you know, it's about ownership. You know, I'm always going to preach, you know, hey, man, get control over your life. You know what I'm saying? That's where it starts, you know, not in elected politics. It starts with you having power and decisions over your day-to-day life. Right. So, you know, yeah, I'm going to leave it at that, man. Y'all take it easy. Power to the people. Yo, you like what you just saw? Make sure you like, share, subscribe so the algorithms can algorithm or whatever sorcery they do. Follow us on our socials, links all down in the description, and let's keep rocking.